Hi students, I want to go through this lesson with you. You may have started or haven't started on the story Martian Metropolis. So this is within Unit 4, The Terror and Wonder of Space. So if you are looking at this screen, basically this is all about outer space. You may have some knowledge of outer space. You may be one of those conspiracy theorists that watch different things about outer space, and also you may be a NASA fan where you get that information of what's going on with space exploration. So if you look at this essential question, what is the idea of space exploration, both inspiring and unnerving? So the academic vocabulary that will be focused throughout this unit: complex, potential, rely, stress, valid. Make sure you keep these terms in mind as you are going through this unit. All right. So as you are going through, make sure you watch the videos that goes along with your lesson. So I'm clicking to the next page. Make sure you are clicking to the next page. If you're having trouble with it, sometimes it takes a minute to reload this entire lesson. So when you are reading your text, make sure you do the notice and note questions. This particular text is going to focus on numbers and stats. So you can go through. This is, some of those math terms. They're going to give you statistics. They're going to give you numbers thrown at you within this particular text. So when you're reading this and you come across questions, make sure you understand what it does for you. It can help reveal the key points that the author is making. Hint at the author's bias or purpose for writing. They think about the opinion and their purpose for writing this. Show compassion between two things. So it's going to compare some things in here. Okay, so I'm not going to read through all this. These are the things that you can read yourself. Also, word gaps. Remember, word gaps are basically unfamiliar words, and you have to use your context clues to guide you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next page. So, Martian Metropolis is a scientific writing by Meg Thatcher. So within this, you're going to analyze structural elements such as references and acknowledgments. You're going to also look at organizational patterns. There may be more than one in here. Compare and contrast may be one of them for sure. Also, a little description may be thrown in here. So if you're looking at structural elements, text features are elements of a text that help organize and call attention to important information. Science writing such as Martian Metropolis, which you're going to be reading, and other information of text often contains multiple text features, including references and acknowledgments. So here are your definitions here. And basically with those references, it includes footnotes and endnotes. Footnotes appear at the bottom of the page and provide additional information. Endnotes appear at the end of the text. So pay attention to these things. It gives you more information that will help you understand the text better. Acknowledgments. There is a list of statements, people who make contributions to this. And basically when you see these, it's basically, think about the credits based on the research that the author may have used. Organizational patterns, classification, cause and effects, advantages and disadvantages. These are the organizational patterns that will be focused upon within this text, along with compare and contrast. So when you're doing this, make sure you go through and do the critical vocabulary and a little review over capitalization. So make sure these things are done when you are working in this text. So moving to the next page. All right, so Martian Metropolis. I'm going to read a little of this to you, and I'm going to go through a few of the questions. I'm not going to do all the questions because I want you to be able to answer these questions on your own, because you have other activities at the end to do along with this activity. So a little background about the author. I'm going to let you read that about the author. And she did a lot of research on this particular story. So when you're reading, pay attention to the information about the red planet and what may surprise you. Okay? And think about this. What do you think would be most challenging about living on Mars? So make sure as you read, you are doing the notice and note. This is a part of your grade, so make sure you're doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading. NASA plans to send humans to Mars in the 2030s, and several private entities aim to send settlers to live on Mars permanently. So something to think about. Some of you may have some familiarity with this. There are several reasons to create an off-planet colony. One is survival of our species. We never know what will happen to threaten the habitat. This could be our life raft, says Darby Dyer, an astronomy professor at Mount Holyoke College and a member of the Mars Curiosity rover team. There's also a cool factor, she says. Who would not want to live on Mars? So we're coming across our first question here. So notice and note. Highlight the clues in paragraph 2 that might help you understand the word colony. Context clues. And I'm looking at my inferencing question here. Why did the author introduce this term so early in the text? So I'm going back up. And I'm looking at paragraph 2. Life raft. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. Also, who would not want to live on Mars? I'm highlighting that. So with that question, the author, and I'm going back to the question again. Why did the author introduce this term so early in the text? So think about it. Basically, she's establishing that, this article is going to be about living on Mars. So I'm going to type in here, the author introduced the term early because the article is about creating a colony and living on Mars. Simple as that. Okay? So make sure you have these things in here. Like I said, it's a part of your grade. So we'll go ahead and keep reading. Scientists living on Mars can study the planet up close better than rovers can. They compare it to Earth and other planets. They can study its atmosphere. And remember the bold words, you click on it, it gives you more information. And humans' effect on that atmosphere. If they find evidence for life on Mars, whether past or present, that will tell humans we're not alone in the universe. So I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep reading. So I'm highlighting this subheading because you might have a question regarding that. Of all the planets in the solar system, Mars is the most Earth-like. It's made of rock and has a thin atmosphere. The scenery is beautiful, but also strange, with craters and sand dunes, dust, and scattered rocks. It has massive landforms, the tallest mountains, and deepest canyons in the solar system, all under a pink sky. It's further from the sun than Earth, so Mars is much colder. On average, it's a bone-chilling minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit / 62 degrees, minus 62 degrees Celsius. The Martian day, called a sol, is about 40 minutes longer than an Earth day. A Martian year is 668.6 sols. Its atmosphere is about 100 times thinner than Earth's. And notice you have another little one there. It's giving you more information. That's terrestrial planets, national oceanic, and it's basically giving you a reference there or acknowledgement. And it's 95% carbon dioxide. Even if Mars' atmosphere were thicker, we wouldn't be able to breathe it. Earth's atmosphere is mostly nitrogen and oxygen with 0.04% carbon dioxide, in a combination that's friendlier to our planet's life forms. So I have another question here. Notice a note question. All right. So in paragraph 5, highlight the statistics the author provides about Mars. Remember what I said, though, that data and stats, with numbers and stats. So I'm looking at my analyze question. What does this information help you understand about what it will be like to live on Mars? So I'm going back up. I'm highlighting parts of paragraph 5. And I'm highlighting all the way to carbon dioxide. Those are my statistics that's given me about that. And here's another one. 0.04 carbon dioxide is another thing I can highlight. So I'm looking at my question again. What does this information help you understand about what it will be like to live on Mars? So I'm looking at this. It helps illustrate how difficult. So could we live on Mars? Probably not, because it will kill us no sooner we step out into that atmosphere. So I can say it helps illustrate how difficult it would be to live on Mars. And you can just keep it as simple as that. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and keep reading. The biggest danger on Mars, is radiation. Mars has no magnetic field to protect humans from high energy particles from the sun and other sources called cosmic rays. On Mars, cosmic radiation is much higher than it is on Earth. This can cause serious damage to DNA, which increases the risk of cancer. The danger decreases if you burrow 16 feet, 5 meters under the surface of the red planet, and you have more acknowledgments and references. The soil overhead will provide about the same amount of protection as Earth's atmosphere. So here's another question. Select the footnote number in paragraph 6 to reveal its citation. So I'm going back up here. So I'm looking at that. Mission to Mars will double astronauts' cancer risk. The U.S. National Library of Medicine. What information does this footnote provide? So I'm looking at this. So basically it's telling us how radiation on Mars is a cause for concern. So I will type in there. It tells the source of the information and explains the importance on Mars and the importance of it. Okay? So with that, it's giving you a source. Keep those sources in mind. They are important.